On the day I married Ethan, his childhood sweetheart got kidnapped by some gangsters. She called in tears, begging Ethan to deliver the $5 million ransom to save her. I said we should call the cops right away. And Ethan hesitated a bit but went along with it. In the end, the childhood sweetheart was rescued by the police and the kidnappers got caught. However, not long after, the kidnappers' accomplices tracked her down and took vicious revenge. She was badly beaten and had her uterus removed. Everyone blamed me, saying if I hadn't refused to pay the ransom and pushed to call the cops, none of this would have happened. Later, only Ethan comforted me, telling me to ignore others' gossip. 3 years later, while I was giving birth, I had a difficult labor and developed massive bleeding. I was rushed to the ICU for emergency treatment. But Ethan signed the consent form to stop treatment. Before I died, he told me, if you hadn't pushed to call the cops, Luna wouldn't have gotten targeted by those kidnappers' buddies and lost her uterus. This kid's your way of making it up to her. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back on my wedding day with Ethan. I advised Ethan to just sell the house and pay the ransom. The wedding starts in an hour. Ethan sat on the sofa in the bridal suite answering the call, his brows furrowed tight enough to crush a fly. Luna, what's your game this time? Haven't you screwed me over enough already? A woman's intermittent sobs came through the line. Ethan, I'm not lying this time. They've kidnapped me. The ransom's $5 million. Bring the cash before 3 p.m. or they'll kill me. Please. Ethan's expression shifted, as if he was trying to figure out if she was telling the truth. Last month, Luna called saying she'd been in a car crash on the highway and was being treated in the ER. Ethan dropped the major deal he was negotiating and rushed over, only to find it was a truth or dare game Luna pulled with friends. That business deal fell through, and Ethan's hopes of turning things around with it went down the drain. The woman kept pleading, Ethan, help me. Please. The kidnappers need $5 million by 3 p.m. I'm terrified. I stared coldly at the scene before me. In my past life, Luna reached out to Ethan around now, saying she'd been kidnapped. After I found out, I suggested Ethan call the police right away. We should pretend to agree to the kidnappers' demands, deliver the ransom to their specified location, and work with the police to catch all of them. Ethan hesitated a moment, but did as I said. During Luna and Ethan's call, the police swiftly tracked her down. Luna was rescued, and both kidnappers were caught and sentenced. Ethan asked Luna why the kidnappers took her and whether she'd made any enemies. She stammered for ages but couldn't explain, clearly on edge. 2 months later, one late night, Luna staggered out of the bar drunk. When she called a taxi, a man grabbed her. This time, the man didn't demand money. He dragged her into an alley corner and beat her for hours. Luna was badly hurt with a ruptured uterus, her life hanging by a thread. Finally, the doctor recommended removing her uterus to save her life. After this incident, everyone around knew I was the one who pushed Ethan to report it to the police. They said it was me not wanting Ethan to pay the ransom that got Luna hurt by the kidnappers' accomplices. Yes, they never blamed the actual culprit who harmed Luna. Instead, they blamed me, the one who actually wanted to help. Ethan reassured me every time, telling me not to worry about what people were saying. He said he believed in me and that I truly meant well for Luna. In the 3rd year of our marriage, I had a difficult delivery giving birth to our son. Due to difficult labor, I suffered heavy bleeding and was rushed to the ICU. Right then, claiming he couldn't cover the medical costs, Ethan signed the treatment withdrawal form. After they stopped treatment, Ethan came to see me with the baby. He cradled the child in one arm while stroking my hair. To outsiders, it looked like he'd brought our son to say goodbye, but his words turned vicious. Do you know why you had difficult labor? Because I'd been slipping a slow-acting drug into your food for ages. I stared at him, wide-eyed and stunned, unable to believe what was coming out of his mouth. Ethan smiled gently, his voice ice-cold. If you hadn't pushed to call the cops, Luna would not have suffered reprisals later. They had to remove her uterus because of you. Luckily, you pulled through and gave me a son. The kid'll be raised by me and Luna, consider it your way of making things right. Once you're gone, everything under your name goes to me and the kid. Your heartless parents might not even realize you're dead. He said he'd been seeing Luna behind my back. And if they hadn't waited for me to deliver the baby, they'd have fled ages ago. Said I brought this on myself and karma always bites back. I died drowning in fury and heartbreak. Vivian, Luna's been kidnapped. The bastards demand $5 million ransom. What do we do? Ethan's panicked voice cut through my memories. I stared at the man I'd spent 3 years dating and 3 years married to in my past life. 6 years together, yet I could still see the pure loathing etched on his face when he watched me die. I took a deep breath, fighting the urge to strangle him. Just go pay them then. Need me to do anything? Ethan froze, then his eyes lit up. Vivian, you'll cover the ransom? I shook my head. Not a chance. Ethan looked puzzled. Then why did you say? I explained should I cancel the wedding instead? Since you'll be busy rescuing Luna. Ethan blurted out, but if we don't pay, I can't scrape together 5 million alone. I snorted. Of course I knew he didn't have 5 million, he probably didn't even have 50K in his account. Ethan did come from money. His parents' sudden death left him a decent inheritance, enough to live comfortably for 2 lifetimes without working. But Mr. Hotshot here had to play businessman, dumping cash into investments until he'd blown through most of it. Now the only thing left worth anything was our wedding house, maybe valued at 6 or 7 million. I shrugged helplessly. I don't have any money right now. You know, my parents split up when I was a kid. They've got their own families now and couldn't care less about me. The money Grandpa left me? I've pretty much blown through all of it. Ethan looked skeptical. No way. Your grandpa was one of the richest guys around here. How can you not even have 5 mil? I sighed. My grandpa died suddenly from a fatal stroke. You know this. Even he didn't have time to write a will. By law, everything went to my dad. Now, I don't even have 100K. Actually, he'd left me 70% through a trust fund. I won't get a cent until I'm 35. After hearing this, Ethan was crushed. He'd always bragged about being well off and never asked about my finances. In our 3 years together, aside from swapping gifts, we kept our money separate. He just knew my grandpa had lots of money and that I blew through mine. Still, he pushed. Why not hit up your rich best friend? With your bond, she'd totally loan you the cash. Luna said they'll kill her if the money's not there by PM3. He said it like it was nothing. I looked at his anxious face, thought about it for a moment, then pretended to put on a hesitant look and said, all right, I'll try. After a few rings, someone picked up. Ava's sarcastic voice came from the phone. Oh, what wind's blown Miss Vivian my way today? Isn't today your big day? How come you've got time to think of a meddlesome soul like me? I smiled awkwardly, I just really missed you and wanted to talk. Ava had always looked down on Ethan, even though he was tall, handsome, modest, and polite. Ava always said Ethan was such a phony and came off super fake. She said, from all my dating overseas, Ethan's totally a wolf in sheep's clothing. Vivian, you're way too naive, don't let that guy play you. At that time, I was head over heels for Ethan and naturally brushed off Lulu's advice. I even thought she was too quick to judge someone's character based on looks alone. Later, when Ava kept bringing it up, I snapped, I'm 25, not a kid. Quit butting into my business. Since then, Ava started drifting away from me. Now that I think about it, I'm so ashamed I wish I could slap myself twice. I sincerely apologized to her, Ava, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have called you a meddler. You're my best friend. I shouldn't have hurt your feelings. There was a long silence on the other end of the phone before she replied, hey, sis, I'm already over it. Do I really seem that petty? Ava and I started making small talk. Noticing I wasn't bringing up the loan, Ethan was getting antsy and kept gesturing next to me. Then I finally got to the point. Ava, I'm kinda strapped lately and need to borrow 5 mil. Any chance you could spot me for a bit? Ava paused, then asked, didn't you make money from that project last time? I coughed loudly a few times. Ava changed her tone, the project you hooked me up with last time's about to get paid out. Every penny's tied up in it right now, can't scrape together 5 mil, mind hanging tight for a bit? I watched Ethan's lips and asked, how long? Earliest half a month, latest a month. The moment Ava said that, Ethan deflated. Just then, Ethan's phone went off again. Ethan stared at the encrypted number on his phone screen, his face turning ghostly pale. His hands were shaking, and it took him a few tries to pick up the call. A voice distorted by a voice changer came through, Mr. Ethan, 3 hours left. Can't hand over 5 million on time? Don't bitch when I ship this pretty thing to Myanmar. Cute face like hers? Buyers a swarm. Even if not, she's got plenty of spare parts inside. Ethan was on the verge of tears. Don't hurt her. I'll get the ransom money to you on time, I swear. With that, the kidnapper hung up. After coming to his senses, he dropped to his knees with a thud and said, Vivian, can you figure something out? You must be able to get 5 million. Your grandpa's been in business for decades, he's gotta have connections. Please, I'm begging you, save Luna. Borrowing money's tough these days, especially 5 mil, not $500. Here's an idea, let's mortgage our wedding place. I'll reach out to some folks who might loan cash. That house was the only thing he had left. If he mortgages it and can't pay back on time, he might actually end up homeless. I didn't push him, just reminded him quietly, 3 hours left. Signing contracts, getting lawyers involved, going through legal procedures, all that takes time. After a long hesitation, he gritted his teeth and said, okay, get on it now. I'll go grab the property certificate right now. Ethan left in a hurry. I yanked off my wedding veil, pushed open the lounge door, strode onto the banquet hall stage, and told everyone, sorry folks, there's been an emergency. Ethan and I are calling off the wedding. Let's just treat today as a party, we'll return every cent of your gifts in full. The crowd erupted in gasps and murmurs as I strode out of the banquet hall. Ethan mortgaged the house and secured 4.5 million. The remaining 500K was patched together with cash from his own cards. Before heading out to pay the ransom, he hesitated, his eyes darting as he asked me, Vivian, you're not mad I put up our wedding home as collateral, right? I smiled, how could I be angry? Someone's life is on the line. You'd better get going now. Ethan looked down at the jumbo suitcase stuffed with cash, wavering before asking, you think they'll let her go after getting the money? Should we get the cops involved? Just then, my phone rang. I gestured at Ethan and pointed to it. Gotta take this. Wait up. The call lasted over 10 minutes. When I hung up, Ethan was still there. He licked his dry lips and said awkwardly, we grew up together. She's like a sister to me. Not wanting to hear his crap, I pushed him, I know, I trust you. No explaining. Just go before it's too late. Ethan walked off reluctantly, glancing back every few steps. I sneered at his retreating figure, hope he doesn't regret today's choice. When Ethan and Luna got back, it was pitch black outside. Both of them looked pretty rough. Luna wasn't too bad, though, just a bit pale. Ethan was barely clothed, his face bruised and swollen, with a tattered shirt wrapped around his waist that he'd grabbed from who knows where. But he didn't even glance at his own state, murmuring reassurance to Luna the whole time, you're safe now. We're home. Nobody can harm you here anymore. Luna was crying, Ethan, you're the only one who truly cares about me in this whole world. I called my parents and they actually said they couldn't care less if I live or die. Woo. The two were all lovey-dovey for over 10 minutes, finally they noticed me standing in the living room with my suitcase, giving them the cold stare. Ethan seemed not to notice I was moving out. He told me, Vivian, go fill the bathtub so Luna can soak properly. She's been through hell today. After a moment, he added, while Luna's in the bath, go make some longan and red date soup with goji berries. It'll help calm the nerves, she can have it after she's done. He was ordering me around like a servant. When I didn't budge, Luna glanced nervously at Ethan and asked, does she not want me here? I can just go back to my place. No way. What if you run into trouble again? Ethan grabbed Luna as she turned to leave, sending the shirt around his waist tumbling to the floor when he moved. I turned my face away, just couldn't even look. Ethan blushed with embarrassment and bolted to the bedroom to get dressed. When he came out, he was muttering curses, those two kidnappers are out of their minds. They took the ransom and even snatched my watch, belt, and the clothes off my back. That afternoon, I'd moved the rest of my stuff. Now I was back for some documents and valuables. Ethan looked stunned. It's so late, where are you going with your luggage? Business trip? I didn't want to explain, so I just nodded. Yeah, I'll be away for a bit. You two sort things out. I'm heading out now. Ethan seemed to get the picture. He pulled me aside and whispered, you need to get the cash quick. If I can't scrape together 4.5 million in 3 months, our house is gone. I rolled my eyes inwardly. So he wanted me to pay for saving his childhood sweetheart. I said coldly, can't promise anything. We'll just play it by ear. Luna officially moved into Ethan's house. She bragged nonstop on moments, posting the room he decorated for her, the breakfast he cooked daily, and all the luxury bags and jewelry he gifted her. I liked every damn post. One day, while having dinner, I received a call from an unknown number. It was Ethan. He sounded panicked and blurted out, "Vivian, send me $300K right now. I'm at a client dinner and my card got declined when paying the bill." "What kind of dinner costs $300K? I said flatly, "No can do. Ask someone else." Luna's voice came through the phone, "Brother Ethan, can we check out now? I still want to check out dresses at the Chanel next door." "Huh, so he's shopping with his side chick." I hung up immediately. Ethan paid for Luna with his credit card that day, maxing out the remaining 800,000 yuan limit. Looking at Luna's latest social media post, bags, dresses, jewelry, and shoes covered half the bed. The caption read, "So happy with these 25th birthday gifts from Ethan." He commented underneath, "Happy birthday, love that you like them. I hope he's still this clingy when he has to cough up that 4.5 million in 2 months. Maybe I got grandpa's business sense, the projects I've invested in are all profitable. Ever since I can remember, I've lived with my grandparents. My parents' marriage was a business arrangement with no real love. After I was born, they fought almost daily. My father had a mistress, and my mom was seeing someone else. The elders on both sides were scared of losing face if word got out, so they ended up letting them divorce and find their own happiness. With my parents' failed marriage as a cautionary example, my grandpa never meddled much in my relationships. So when Ethan showed up checking every box of what I found attractive, looks, personality, the whole package, I leapt at him without thinking twice. Unfortunately, looks can be deceiving. Ava asked me to join her for drinks at a bar, saying I'd been cooped up at home all week and suggested we go unwind. We went to her usual bar. We just sat down when a bunch of guys came over. They greeted Ava warmly, and some even handed her beautifully wrapped gifts. I was stunned by her insane guy magnet vibes. She burst out laughing, "Vivian, are you that clueless? These guys are all male models. I tip big every time I come, you think they'd be this friendly otherwise? Take notes." I was at a loss for words. My grandfather was strict with me and never let me go to nightclubs or bars. Even after I became an adult, he still checked my bank statements every month. However, the bar had decent vibes. After downing a glass of Macallan, I got all woozy and grabbed some male model's hand, demanding to read his palm. In a nearby booth, some wild party was clearly going down, people were straight up standing to check it out. I also stood on the sofa. I wasn't aware of the others in that booth, let alone that Ethan and Luna were the ones making out. The crowd was hollering, the bar lights dim and hazy, the air thick with booze and lust. A few minutes later, the pair finally broke apart from their lingering kiss. When the colored spotlight swept over my face, I locked eyes with Ethan. He froze, reflexively shoving the woman aside. Luna turned to me, froze for a second, then curled her lips into a mocking smirk. Ethan pushed through the crowd toward me. "Vivian, what are you doing here?" His voice still sounded husky with desire. I pointed to the drinks on the table. "Just grabbing drinks with friends." Ethan followed my finger to the booth and spotted several ridiculously handsome guys. Ava had just gone to the restroom. Ethan glared at the hot guys and snapped, "You ordered these? You're still married, Vivian. Where's your decency?" I sneered, "What's that supposed to mean? You can mess around but I can't even have a little fun? Wipe that lipstick off your face before you start lecturing me." Ethan's face went blank for a second, but he still insisted, "It's different. We were just playing a game. Kissing Luna was the penalty for losing, but you're here chasing guys." I rolled my eyes, "So next time you lose, you'll be booking hotel rooms? Your little games sure are getting wild." Before he could speak, I cut in, "Oh, and stop calling me a married woman, I'm single now. We've been done since the day the wedding got called off." Ethan looked at me in disbelief and stormed off with a fine. "Don't come crying later." He went back to Luna, as if trying to piss me off, deliberately getting all cozy with her. Would I regret it? Not unless I'm as dumb as I was in my past life. Soon came the day Ethan had to repay the 4.5 million debt. He couldn't pay up. Before, counting on our relationship, he thought I wouldn't just stand by when he hit rock bottom. Hell, even a single project's payment for me clears 5 million easily. but in reality, he couldn't reach me at all. Left with no choice, he asked nearby friends for loans, but after hitting up everyone, only scraped together a few $100. As the saying goes, you help with emergencies, not chronic debts. The last property he owned wasn't even his anymore. Who'd believe he could bounce back and repay anything? In the end, Ethan had to move into a hotel with Luna. As for me, I listed the house I got through a real estate agency and sold it for over $6 million. After getting the money, I gave my friend a 10% commission. When I went to my friend's office to talk about a collaboration, I ran into Ethan there, who was trying to borrow money. Since he had monthly credit card bills and loan payments to keep up with, there was no way he could scrape together that much all at once. My friend gently turned him down. He was stuck in an awkward situation, unsure whether to stay or go. When I pushed open my friend's office door and spotted Ethan on the couch, I cursed my rotten luck. I didn't want to stick around, so I told my friend something came up and I'd catch him later. As soon as I stepped out of the office building, Ethan shouted after me, "Vivian." I kept walking, but he chased after me and grabbed my wrist. He grabbed my wrist with bloodshot eyes, demanding, "Tell me, was this all you're doing? Why someone saying you bought that apartment?" I yanked my hand free. "Ethan, snap out of it. You're the one who mortgaged your place to bail out Luna, I just hooked you up with lenders. Also, you're the one who maxed out your credit cards buying designer stuff to suck up to Luna, how's any of that my problem? Shouldn't you be happy now? You saved the one you wanted and won her heart. What's a bit of hardship anyway?" Ethan stared hard, shoulders sagging. His eyes brimmed with despair. "So you'd already decided to dump me?" Looking at the broken, miserable man before me, I sneered. Where'd he get the nerve? He'd emptied his pockets to save some other woman and still expected me to be blind enough to stick around? I said, "We were over the moment we called off the wedding." With that, I walked off without turning around. Luna was pregnant. Ethan put up his watch and some other valuables on a second-hand site and sold his Lamborghini. After paying off his credit cards, he bought a 2-bedroom apartment and got engaged to Luna. Life was just getting by, but who would have guessed that Luna, 6 months pregnant, would get kidnapped again? This time, the ransom wasn't huge, just $1.5 million, precisely all the assets Ethan had left. Ethan couldn't decide, his wife and unborn child on one side, and every last bit of what he owned left on the other. He just couldn't wrap his head around why Luna kept getting kidnapped over and over. After much deliberation, he decided to contact the police. After setting up a sting, the police had an officer pose as Ethan to deliver the ransom. The kidnappers were caught. When Ethan burst in, Luna was sitting on a patio chair munching fruit. After the interrogation, it was revealed that Luna had orchestrated both kidnappings herself. The first kidnapping was Luna's way to buy her freedom. Luna's husband overseas was a key member of a crime syndicate involved in all sorts of shady business. She returned home to escape her husband's control, but he demanded a ransom for her freedom and sent people to follow her back. Luna racked her brains to scrape together cash, she hit up every relative and friend, sold her parents' house, and stole their life savings. She was still short, so she turned to Ethan. I guess why those 2 kidnappers didn't spill the truth last time was probably because they feared gang retaliation. The second kidnapping happened purely because Luna lost money gambling online. With debt collectors knocking on her door, she tried to reuse the same scheme. But she didn't see Ethan calling the police coming. Luna got 16 years for a massive fraud scheme. After the baby was born, he was given to Ethan. Unfortunately, the child was diagnosed with a rare genetic disease before turning 1. Ethan sold the house and took the kid everywhere seeking treatment. The next time I saw him was after closing a deal with my partner. Since I'd had a few drinks, I decided to walk back to my place, wasn't that far anyway. As I walked to the park, I spotted someone handing out swim lesson flyers. Ethan's t-shirt was soaked in sweat. He'd lift his arm every now and then to wipe sweat off his forehead. Some politely declined the flyers he handed out, others casually tossed them away, forcing him to bend down and retrieve them again. At this moment, a call came through. He said in a low voice, "Just give me a bit more time. I'm working my ass off to pay you back, but there's no way I can scrape together that kind of cash right now." Not sure what the other side said, he raised his voice, "Sue me then. I own nothing anyway. Keep calling and I won't return a penny of the principal." I didn't say hello or kick him while he was down. Now, he's just a stranger to me. A few years later, I started seeing someone new. When I went to the hospital for my premarital checkup, I ran into Ethan with his kid getting registered on the first floor. When he saw me hand in hand with my fiancé, his eyes went dim. He forced a bitter smile and said, "You look happy. I should thank you for not marrying me back in the day." His mouth twitched downward, a cross between a smile and a sob. My fiancé tactfully stepped aside and waited nearby. Ethan gazed into the distance and muttered, "Vivian, you know what? I had this crazy real dream the other day. I dreamt we got hitched and you had my kid." The smile slipped off my face as I glared at him. "Then what?" Ethan avoided my gaze, his lips quivered, and he didn't answer. "I finished for him. After the baby was born, I was bleeding out. When I needed emergency care in ICU, you signed the DNR papers." Ethan suddenly looked at me, his pupils blown wide in shock. "I bet your dream spelled out exactly why I hemorrhaged so badly, didn't it?" Ethan's face filled with horror as he stumbled back step after step. How did you know that?" I slapped him hard across the face. Ethan looked into my eyes, burning with hatred, and froze on the spot. After a long moment, he covered his face, sank to the ground and burst into tears. I looked down at him in disgust, then strode toward my fiancé.